York City. It's a city of glittering towers and glass ceilings. A city that gave us a president, a real estate mogul who sold the world an image of power built on concrete and gold. This is Donald Trump's New York, but on these very same streets, in the bodegas of Queens and the walk-ups of Astoria, a different New York is stirring. A political force is rising, one that doesn't just want to argue with Donald Trump, but wants to tear down the very foundation of his world. This isn't just about an election. It's a fight for the city's soul. In the hometown of America's most famous capitalist, someone else is writing the next chapter. And he's an unapologetic socialist. To really get what's happening in New York City, you've got to understand it's two completely different worlds. The first is the one everyone knows, the one that's been sold to the world for decades. It's the New York of Wall Street, Fifth Avenue penthouses, and a skyline carved out by billionaires. This is the New York that gave us Donald J. Trump, a man whose entire brand is aggressive, winner-take-all capitalism. His politics, from slashing corporate taxes to gutting regulations, are a perfect reflection of this city he calls his own. But then there's the other New York, the New York of the 5 boroughs, of immigrant families, of working-class people just trying to survive the crushing cost of living. This is a city where, in some neighborhoods, people spend half their income just to keep a roof over their heads. It's a city where paychecks have flatlined while the price of everything else has gone through the roof. And it's from this asterisk, New York, that a counter-movement has exploded. A movement that sees the city not as a corporate balance sheet, but as a community. And leading this charge is a name that most people outside of Queens had never heard until recently, Zohran Mamdani. Zoran Mambdani's story doesn't start in a corporate boardroom. It starts in Kampala, Uganda. Born to Indian parents, a world-renowned academic father, and an acclaimed filmmaker mother, he and his family moved to New York City when he was 7. He grew up in the city's public schools, went to the Bronx High School of Science, and then studied Africana Studies at Bowdoin College. But his real education came after he graduated. Before he ever thought about running for office, Mamdani was a foreclosure prevention counselor in Queens. It was a job that threw him onto the front lines of the city's housing crisis. Day in and day out, he was on the phone with banks, watching as families, mostly low-income people of color, lost their homes. He said that this experience, seeing a system that puts profits over people, is what pushed him into politics. His activism had already started. From co-founding his high school's first cricket team to organizing a Students for Justice in Palestine chapter in college, this wasn't just stuff to pad a resume. It was a crash course in how to organize. That mix of street-level casework and grassroots organizing created a worldview that was a direct threat to the city's established powers. In 2020, he decided to test that worldview. Backed by the Democratic Socialists of America, Mamdani pulled off a stunning upset, defeating a 4-term incumbent in the Democratic primary for a state assembly seat in Queens. He ran on housing, public ownership, and police reform, and won a nail-biter of a race that took almost a month to call. Since then, he's been re-elected twice without anyone even running against him, cementing his place as a leader of New York's rising left. So, what does this new socialist power actually look like? It's not about dusty old theories, it's about real-world policies aimed at fixing the city's affordability crisis. As an assemblyman, Mamdani has been the main force behind a legislative package called Fix the MTA. The goal? To transform the city's broken-down transit system. One of its biggest wins was a first-of-its-kind pilot program that made bus routes in every single borough fare-free. Ridership jumped by 30% on weekdays, mostly from low-income New Yorkers, and assaults on bus drivers actually went down. Housing is the other massive piece of his platform. Mamdani is fighting for a rent freeze on the city's rent-stabilized apartments and wants to pour public money into building 200,000 new, deeply affordable, publicly owned housing units over the next decade. This is a direct challenge to the city's decades-long habit of relying on private developers to fix the housing shortage. And how do you pay for all this? The answer is simple: tax the rich. The platform he supports calls for raising taxes on corporations and anyone making over $1 million a year. This isn't just policy, it's a direct ideological war with Donald Trump's New York. While Trump's vision was to cut taxes for the rich and let corporations run wild, Mamdani's vision is to redirect that wealth to pay for universal public services. From free childcare to city-run grocery stores to bring down food costs, this movement is way bigger than just one person. The Democratic Socialists of America, or DSA, has blown up since 2016, going from a small, fringe group to an electoral powerhouse with thousands of members in New York City alone. With an army of volunteers, they've shown they can take on and beat the old political machines. Their success with candidates like Mamdani and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez proves this socialist agenda isn't just a fantasy. It's finding real support across the 5 boroughs. This is a story that's changing by the day. And if you want to keep up with the people and movements that are reshaping American politics, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. We break down the forces changing our world every single week. So why is this movement, led by a 33-year-old state assemblyman from Queens, Donald Trump's worst nightmare? It's not like they're running against each other. It's because Mamdani and his movement are a living, breathing rejection of the entire Trump brand, and it's happening right in the city where that brand was born. First, you've got the ideological threat. Trump's whole political identity is built on the myth of the self-made billionaire, the ultimate capitalist who mastered the art of the deal. Mamdani's identity is the exact opposite. He's a community organizer who gets his power from people coming together, not from a bank account. His story isn't about getting rich, it's about the public good. He argues for things like a $30 minimum wage by 2030 and universal childcare ideas that are poison to the low-tax, anti-regulation world that made Trump famous. Second, there's the cultural threat. Trump's New York was the New York of the 1980s, brash, loud, and mostly white. Mamdani's New York is a multiracial, multilingual, working-class coalition. As the son of immigrants from Uganda and India, a practicing Muslim, and a millennial, Mamdani is the new New York. His campaign has pulled together a massive base of support, from taxi drivers on hunger strike to tech workers, firing up communities that have been ignored for decades. And finally, there's the narrative threat. Trump sold a story about New York. It was a story about individual grit, about beating the system for your own gain. Mamdani is telling a completely different story. It's a story where the system is the problem, and the only way to fix it is together. When Trump attacks him, calling him a communist lunatic, as he has, Mamdani doesn't just punch back. He uses it to talk about the struggles of working people who feel betrayed by that exact system. It's a direct challenge to Trump's own brand of populism, arguing that the real fighter for the working class isn't the one cutting taxes for billionaires, but the one trying to build a system that supports everyone. The rise of Zoran Mambdani and the Democratic Socialists in New York is way more than just a local political story. It's a symbol of the deep ideological war being fought all across America. In the shadow of Trump Tower, a political movement is growing, one that wants to build a city and maybe a country on a foundation of community, solidarity, and fairness. This isn't just about different policies. It's a clash between two totally different ideas of what New York and what America should be. One idea, born in gilded hotel lobbies, sees the city as a ladder for a chosen few. The other, born in tenant meetings and on picket lines, sees it as a home for the many. The winner of this fight for the soul of Donald Trump's hometown will send shockwaves far beyond its borders and could end up defining American politics for years to come.